Hey folks, and welcome back. I've got a question for you. One that's a real classic, right up there with the chicken and the egg. In the world of fast food, which came first, the nugget or the tender? We all remember the great chicken sandwich wars of 2019, right?
Have you heard the big news? An online war between Popeyes and Chick-fil-A.
What a wild time that was. But I'm here to tell you something that might be a little controversial. That war is over, and a whole new era has begun. Welcome everyone to the age of the chicken tender. Chains are upgrading their recipes, and new things like the Popeyes chicken dippers just dropped this month. But here's the real question. With all these names, tenders, strips, fingers, how do you know which ones are the real deal and which are just glorified, oversized nuggets? Well, that is exactly why we're here today. We've done the hard work for you. We went to 10 major fast food chains and bought all of their chicken tenders to find the definitive answer. We're breaking down everything: the crunch of that breading, the tenderness and juice of the chicken inside, and most importantly, does the flavor actually make you want to go back for another piece? There is no room for dryness or blandness on this list. So where do you think your favorite spot is going to land? Will it be one of the old guard, like KFC, or a challenger, like Raising Cane's? Let us know your predictions in the comments right now. We'll see who called it at the end. All right, you ready? Settle in and let's get this delicious journey started, beginning at the very bottom of our list with number 10. 10. All right, here we go. Kicking us off at the bottom of our list, in the number 10 spot, is a place many of us love for other reasons: Culvers. Now I know what you're thinking. Culvers, home of the incredible butter burgers and that frozen custard you drive miles for. They are masters of their craft. And to be fair, they're trying. They advertise that their chicken comes from humane farms, it's whole chicken breast, and it's fried to order. On paper, it all sounds fantastic. But, well, just take a look at this. My question is this chicken or is this fish? Honestly, if you told me this came out of a fish and chips basket, I would believe you. It's flat, the breading is thin and smooth. It's having an identity crisis. And unfortunately, the problems don't stop with the looks. When you take a bite, you can tell it's real chicken under there, but it has that processed, almost frozen aisle taste to it. And it is very dry. The crunch, just a little whisper of a crunch, barely there. The seasoning, I think they might have forgotten that ingredient somewhere along the way. It's just incredibly bland. So, as much as we love Culvers for everything else, their chicken tender just misses the mark. It's dry, it's bland, and it looks more like a fish fillet. That's why it's landed at number 10 on our list. Have you ever had these? Was your experience the same? Let us know in the comments. Now let's move on to number 9. 9. Moving on up, just barely in our rankings to the number 9 spot, is a familiar name for anyone who loves the drive-in experience: Sonic and their crispy tenders. Right off the bat, 1 point in its favor. It doesn't look like fish. It definitely looks like chicken, albeit kind of a chicken brick. These things are big and wide, not dainty little strips. They call them crispy tenders, but I think the word crispy is doing a lot of heavy lifting here. The breading is thicker than Culver's, but there's no real snap to it. It's all kind of one texture when you bite through. Flavor-wise, it's mostly salt, but there's this strange, sweet, almost burnt aftertaste. And then it hit me. It tastes like their onion rings. I've read they put a hint of vanilla in their onion ring batter, and I swear I can taste that same note here. A little weird, right? The chicken inside tells a similar story to our number 10 spot. A bit dry, feels like it came from the freezer aisle. But Sonic has a secret weapon. That weapon is their sauce lineup. From the jalapeno ranch to the honey mustard or their new groovy sauce, these sauces are the real hero here. They could make a cardboard box taste good. So the tender itself is pretty underwhelming. But because it doesn't look like fish, and it comes with its own built-in rescue team of sauces, Sonic squeaks by into the number 9 spot. Any Sonic sauce fans out there? Which one is your absolute go-to? Let us know. Up next, the competition starts to heat up a little bit at number 8. 8. All right, climbing one more rung up the ladder to number 8, we're heading to the place that famously has the meats. Yep, it's Arby's. When you think Arby's, you think of that roast beef piled high, right? But have you ever really looked at their menu? It's like a novel. They've got gyros, cheesesteaks, jalapeno poppers, and of course, somewhere in the middle of all that, they have chicken tenders. And right away, this is a step up. Arby's makes it clear these are not nuggets. And they're right. You can definitely tell this is a real piece of chicken breast, not a brick or a fish fillet. That already puts it ahead of our bottom 2. But there are a few warning signs. They handed this to me almost instantly. And look at this color. It's a little dark. That tells me it's probably been hanging out under a heat lamp for a bit. The breading is, well, it's lumpy and more crumbly than crispy, and it's a little greasy to the touch. And the flavor follows suit. It's on the dry side. The seasoning is very basic, just feels like salt and pepper. It's not bad, but it's not exciting. And that's really the story of the Arby's tender. It's forgettable. On a menu with so many unique, flavorful items, this tender just gets lost in the shuffle. It's passable when you drown it in horsey or Arby's sauce, but on its own, there's nothing to write home about. It's the definition of just okay. And that's why it lands at number 8. Are there any secret Arby's tender fans out there? Let us know. Up next, we're heading to a place where a queen reigns. 7. That's right. We've arrived at the place where a queen reigns, at least in the world of frozen treats. The number 7 spot goes to Dairy Queen, also known as DQ. You go to DQ for a blizzard. You go for a chocolate-dipped cone. The chicken, it kind of feels like an afterthought, right? Something you eat before you get to the main event, which is the ice cream. But you wouldn't think so listening to DQ. They call their chicken basket a classic for nearly 30 years, beloved, adored, and my personal favorite, a smash menu sensation. And after trying them, I can tell you, they're chicken strips. Perfectly average chicken strips. Now, to be fair, they have good points that push them past the last 3. The chicken inside is actually tender and easy to chew. No complaints there. The breading is thicker and gets us closer to that real crunch we're looking for, even if it's a bit doughy at times. But the biggest issue, a familiar theme at the bottom of this list, is the blandness. There's no seasoning, no pizzazz. It's just a vehicle for sauce. There is a very important new development. Just this past May 2025, DQ launched a sauced and tossed option where they coat these exact strips in honey BBQ or buffalo sauce. And I think that's the answer we've been looking for. On its own, this is the most middle-of-the-road chicken tender you can find. But because the chicken itself is decent, and there's now a promising official way to fix the blandness, Dairy Queen takes the number 7 spot. Has anyone out there tried the new sauced and tossed version? Does it really make it better? Let us know in the comments. Now the top 6 is ahead, and this is where things start to get really interesting. If you're still watching and finding these details valuable, I'd really appreciate it if you leave the number 7 in the comments below, just to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I hope you'll consider subscribing and ringing that bell so you don't miss a thing. Your support is what allows us to keep creating helpful content to inform and inspire you. Now, let's get back to it. 6.
And things get very interesting right now. At number 6, we're tackling the biggest giant of them all. Yep, it's McDonald's and their brand new McCrispy strips. Now, when you talk chicken at McDonald's, you have to talk about the king, the McNugget. It's been around since '83. It's an icon. But McDonald's has this history, this graveyard of failed chicken tenders. Remember Chicken Selects? What about the buttermilk crispy tenders? They come and they go. Well, this is their latest attempt, which just dropped in May 2025. Did they finally get it right? My answer is kinda. Visually, they look pretty good, but the real story is in the flavor. Whoa, black pepper. A lot of black pepper. And that is a good thing. After some of the blandness at the bottom of our list, we finally have a bold, standout flavor. It's not spicy, but it's very present, and it really works. It makes the tender memorable. However, on the texture front, despite the name McCrispy, it's not really all that crispy. The breading is a little on the soft, almost mushy side. It's not bad, but don't expect a big, loud crunch. But here's my verdict. This is way better than I expected. And most importantly, it's a great alternative to the McNugget when you want something that feels more like a real piece of chicken and less engineered. For that signature pepper flavor and for being a clear step in the right direction, the McCrispy strips have earned their number 6 spot. What do you think? Is this the tender that McDonald's will finally keep around? Let me know your thoughts. 5.
And speaking of heavy hitters, our number 5 spot goes to an icon, a legend, the Colonel himself. Yup, it's KFC and their new original recipe tenders. And when I say new, I mean they really stirred the pot last year, 2024. KFC didn't just quietly release these, they came out swinging. They publicly threw shade at Popeyes in their press release, basically saying, why settle for Louisiana seasonings when you can have our secret 11 herbs and spices? They even gave them away for free in their competitors' hometowns like Popeyes and Chick-fil-A. That's a bold, bold move. So with all that swagger, are these the best tenders on the planet? The verdict is they're good. They're genuinely tasty. You definitely get that signature KFC flavor. The 11 herbs and spices are present, and the chicken inside is juicy and tender. On flavor, they delivered. But, and this is a big but, where's the crunch? The breading is surprisingly thin. It's nothing like that super crunchy, craggy, famous coating you get on their bone-in chicken. For a brand that built an empire on Kentucky Fried Chicken, that's a major letdown. So here's the final take. KFC wrote a check that the tender couldn't quite cash. The flavor is great, but the texture is lacking. They're good, but they're not start a chicken brawl with everyone good, which is how they marketed them. For that iconic flavor alone, they absolutely deserve the number 5 spot. But I have to ask you KFC fans, do you agree they're not as crispy as the bone-in? Let me know. Up next at number 4, we take a look at the very competitor KFC was calling out.
4. We ended that last segment with KFC calling out its competition. So, how does that competitor respond? Well, Popeyes doesn't talk, they do. And at number 4, we have their answer, the brand new Popeyes Chicken Dippers. If you've been watching TV at all this month, July 2025, you've seen the commercials. This is their latest limited time offering, and it is designed to be different. And they look weird. I'm just gonna say it. They look like crunchy octopus tentacles reaching out of the cup. But don't worry, I promise they don't taste like seafood. Instead, they have that signature, savory, slightly spicy Popeyes flavor. And most importantly, did you hear that? That is crunch. Remember how we were let down by the lack of crunch on the KFC tender? Popeyes answered the call. The crispiness here is on another level. For that alone, it easily beats KFC. But, and this is why it's not in the top 3,
That super thin shape has one major drawback. Look at this. The chicken is kind of hard to find. In a lot of bites, you are getting mostly that delicious crispy breading. It feels more like a super upgraded popcorn chicken than a true tender. So, it's a fantastic appetizer to share. They are craveable, crunchy, and delicious. But because that breading to chicken ratio is off, it stops at number 4. Popeyes, you are this close to perfection. If you could make something halfway between this and your classic tender, you'd have a flawless product. Has anyone tried these tentacles yet? Do you agree with me? Let me know. Now we are entering the top 3, the final 3. The real battle begins now.
3. We've fought our way through 7 contenders, and now we've reached the podium, the top 3. And kicking off the medal ceremony, taking the bronze at number 3, is an industry titan, a brand with a cult-like following, Chick-fil-A and their chicken strips. Now, for years, there has been a great debate in the Chick-fil-A fan community, nuggets or strips. Everyone has their camp. And I have a confession to make. I have always been Team Nugget. Always. But after today, after really tasting and comparing, I think I might be switching jerseys. Here's why. I discovered a secret. I always thought they were the same thing, just a different shape. But no, the strips use a different, slightly sweeter marinade than the nuggets. Who knew? And that little difference changes everything. The chicken is incredibly tender, even more so than the nuggets. And look at that ratio. Remember our breading to chicken issue at number 4? Chick-fil-A gets it perfectly right. This is real, quality chicken, and it's the star of the show. You still get that savory, peppery coating you know and love, but there's this subtle sweetness underneath from that marinade. Now, is it shatteringly crispy? Not really. Chick-fil-A has never been about that super loud crunch. But honestly, it doesn't even matter. The overall flavor is so fantastic, you don't miss it. Everything works together in harmony. The sweet marinade, the moist chicken, the peanut oil. It's not flashy. It's not gimmicky. It's just simple, high-quality food done right. An all-around fantastic tender. The chicken strips have easily earned our bronze medal spot at number 3. So I have to ask again, which side are you on? Nuggets or strips? The debate rages on in the comments. And now there are 2. The battle for the crown, the silver and the gold. Let's find out who takes second place. 2. And then there were 2. 2 chains that have risen above all others. And taking the silver medal, an incredibly respectable second place, is a chain that does one thing, and they do it exceptionally well. It's Raising Cane's and their chicken fingers. Cane's doesn't have burgers, they don't have tacos. They have a simple philosophy: chicken, fries, toast, and that sauce. Oh, that sauce. But the undeniable star of the show is the chicken. And just look at the size of this thing. It's plump, it's substantial. This is a real tender. The result is one of the juiciest chicken fingers you will ever eat. Now, a word of warning. If you're looking for a super seasoned, crunchy, crispy coating, this is not your place. The Cane's breading is simple. It's softer, almost like you'd find at a state fair. And that is a deliberate choice. They aren't hiding anything with seasoning. They let the quality of the chicken speak for itself, and I have so much respect for that. But I have to share a pro tip. The golden rule of Cane's: eat it there. Do not get it to go. Something magical happens inside that styrofoam box that makes everything, especially the fries, get soggy fast. For the best experience, eat it fresh. For its undeniable chicken quality and its unrivaled juiciness, Raising Cane's takes the number 2 spot. So who could possibly beat this near perfection? Who is the undisputed king of the chicken tender? 1. The moment of truth has arrived. We have tasted, we have analyzed, and we have ranked. There is only one spot left, the top spot, the undisputed champion of the fast food chicken tender wars. And the number one spot, our champion, goes to Bojangles and their Chicken Supremes. Let me introduce you to the king. The Bojangles tender has it all. Imagine this. Imagine you could take the incredible, juicy, high-quality chicken from Raising Cane's and combine it with that bold, crispy, seasoned breading from Popeyes, but get the ratio absolutely perfect. That is what Bojangles has done. Just look at it. It's not just golden brown, it has this beautiful orange tint to it, telling you there's a world of flavor in there. And that crust, it has an almost cornflake-like texture that promises an unbelievable crunch. And there it is. That is the sound of perfection. The crunch is phenomenal. The breading is packed with flavor, a little spice, hints of garlic, buttery notes, and underneath all that is a thick, juicy, melt-in-your-mouth tender piece of chicken breast. No dryness, no toughness. Here is the ultimate litmus test. Does it need sauce? Absolutely not. It is perfect on its own. It is the perfect balance of everything we've been looking for. Incredible flavor, satisfying crunch, and high-quality, juicy chicken. It's the total package. Bojangles, you are our chicken tender champion. So there you have it, our winner. But don't go anywhere just yet. When we come back, we're going to recap the entire list from 10 down to 1 and give you our final thoughts.
Welcome back, folks. What an incredible culinary journey that was. We went from the fish-like tenders at Culvers at number 10, all the way past the peppery surprise from McDonald's at number 6, and finally crowned the balanced perfection of Bojangles. What we learned through all of this is that the best tender isn't just about a single thing, like crunch or seasoning. It's about a harmonious balance of everything. Quality, juicy chicken on the inside with a flavorful, crispy breading on the outside. But at the end of the day, this is just our opinion. The best chicken tender is the one you enjoy the most. And we genuinely want to know what you think. What does your ranking look like? Where did we get it right and where were we completely wrong? Drop your top 3 in the comments below. We love reading them and getting the conversation started. And what should we rank next? French fries? Onion rings? Maybe apple pies? Let us know your ideas for the next episode. Thank you so much for spending your time with us today. If you had fun, hitting that like button really helps the channel out, and consider subscribing so you don't miss the next food adventure. Until next time, happy eating!